Welcome to the next part of creating a fantasy piece from one of your images. So we went in, we fixed the hair up, so we got the hair nice cut out without having to do all that masking by using the different blend modes and shooting with the background in mind for using the blend modes later. You'll find you can save yourself a lot of time in editing, that if you start to think about using different blend modes and techniques, shooting it accordingly, makes life a whole lot easier. Now, she's just floating in space, kind of standing there. We want her to be breaking apart. The piece is about transformation. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our main layer right here. We're going to make a new layer, and we're going to call it Break Away, because that's what we're about to do. Go ahead, select your stamp tool, clone stamp. Come up to your brushes here, and we're going to select a square brush. Shape dynamics, we're going to have it changing size. Come down to a minimum diameter. We're also going to have it scattering. So see, if we go up high, if we come down low, we get it to scatter, it goes out a whole lot. We don't want it to go out a whole lot. So we're just going to hit there. We got our square. Make sure we have it set to current and below. When we come up here, Alt key down, we're going to select. And we're going to start painting in areas. If you notice, I keep going back up to select because as I move, it's aligned. So if I just try to cover it all in, I'm going to start picking up areas that aren't made of our model. I just got a little bit right there with the background. We're going to do a little bit on the arms here too. I want the arms breaking away. Going with a little smaller brush, little smaller pieces of stuff breaking away. Adding them into some areas there that are missing. Now I'm not going to try and do it all perfect in one shot, because the next few steps are going to actually alter the way these look, and I'll find myself with areas that I need something to add in. So I'll be going back and forth between the multiple steps to make sure that I get everything covered up as much as I want to. So what I'm going to do is, right now we just have a bunch of square overlapping pieces. They have no real depth to them, so we're going to add some depth. If I right click on the layer, we can go up to blending options. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to bevel and emboss. And what bevel and emboss does, it puts little edges on everything. So what I want to do is, our light from the model is coming from the left going across kind of downwards. So I make sure that my lighting is such that it matches it. We can go to up, emboss, and then move it around there. We get pretty much the same look. Just the light needs to be in the opposite direction to give us the same shadows. We can change the size. And basically there are no magic numbers. You're going to set it so that it looks good to you. Since this is a layer style, we can go back and edit this after we've done some more editing, in case we decide that it looks a little fake or not good enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to then add in a layer mask. Now we're going to go to our brush tool, and again we need to go over to select a square brush. We're going to go to scattering and shape dynamics. We're not going to let it scatter as much as we did with this. We want a little bit finer control. So the scattering, you can see, is at a much lower. We will have it spin around a little bit more. So what we do now, on our brush, make sure our opacity is 100%, flows at 100%. We're at black. We can come in and we can start making this, instead of these square pieces, we can start making it into little breaking up pieces. When things break up, they don't break up in perfect squares with perfectly straight lines. No, they got jagged little edges everywhere. And wherever I got, see we got that line right there, I'm going to go ahead and take that out so that it's not going to have a nice, one piece of debris floating away has one line through it changing textures. So we sit there and this just is going to take a long while. When you do this, one thing you want to keep in mind is you just don't want to do a straight line through. No, because that looks like a broken jigsaw puzzle piece. You want to sit there and break these up in a way where it doesn't look like these pieces should be fitting together. Because when things break apart, little pieces fall off at different times. A piece that fits here could be floating down here, or it could have crumbled up even more and it's just fine dust floating around. Think of broken glass, trying to put it together. There's always the little pieces that you're never going to find because they went flying somewhere else. So you can't have these perfectly fit together things back anymore if it's falling apart and floating away in space. So this is going to take a long while. Now as you can see, I got these broken pieces. I'm going to want some more pieces over here. And I got some space down here with this, so I'm going to fill in there later. But I'm going to wait until I break all these pieces up so that I can get a sense of where I need to fill in. So I'll go back to the stamp tool, put some more pieces in, go back to my brush tool, break them up a little bit more. I'll come in here with a little small brush so that I can really, get in there and have some crumbly little pieces falling apart. This takes hours to do, so I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this. So we're going to pause this, and when you join me back, we will have that all finished for you. And I'll show you the next step. Alright, now we're back. As you can see, I went in, added all these breakaway little pieces, so it looks really kind of cool. So the last part we're going to do for this section is we're going to add some more transition into the hair. And for that, what we want to do is we want to have the hair turning into wispy little smoke flying away. And what we want to do is we want to actually sample that hair color. So we're going to go ahead with our brush tool and we're going to get a sample of the hair color. I'm going to move around, pick the color that I want. I'm going to come over to my pictures of smoke. Now, I've watched a tutorial on some of our special effects shooting to learn how we do these, but I do have an entire folder full of hundreds of pieces of smoke, so I can get all the different shapes and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer. I'm going to set the blend mode to color. Say OK. Going to come in here with my new layer, and I am going to shift F5, which gives me fill, and we're going to go with the foreground color, which is the color of the hair that we selected. And it fills it with that color, but since the blend mode is set to color, it's just going to change the color of it. Putting that color on black does nothing. So I got that filled, so what I can do is I can just go ahead and grab that, drop it onto my next one, and it's good to go. So we can go ahead, Control E to flatten it down. Grab our lasso tool. Grab just the smoke area. Control C to copy, come back over here. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to our top layer. Control V to paste it in there. We got the black. We set our blend mode to screen. Doesn't see the black. Control T to transform, bring it down. Zoom. Line it up. There we go. That's looking pretty nice. Close that. Do not save because I want to keep my white smoke. So that the next time I want to add color to it, I'm good to add color to it. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on to the next one so that I got it ready. Come over here. Control E. Go up big, use the lasso tool. If I hold the shift key down, I get add to my selection, so I can add to my selection. Control C, copy, come back over here. Control V, again, set my blend mode to screen. Well, that looks kind of cool right there. I want it coming off the hair a little bit more. I come up here, zoom. Oops, clicked on the outside of that, so I set it so Control T again. Get the line up there. I can zoom in if I want to get it perfectly. I can come in, warp it, just a little bit. Now if you notice, I'm getting a little bit of discoloration from my outline. I can come in, Control M, and just move that over a little bit so it makes it more black so that the blending mode takes over, does the work for me. That way I don't have to go in and mask it. So room, do not save, no. Select this guy, go ahead and put that mode over onto the next one. Careful how I click it so it doesn't make it all big. Click there, cover all the smoke. Control E, lasso. Control C to copy, come over here. Control V. Screen. If I want to, I can just go ahead and take it up. If I want to make the smoke a little bit brighter, I can go ahead and bring my midtones back up. Control T. Up here, I'm going to go ahead and flip this vertical. Scale it to fit right into there. Zoom in, right click, warp. Right in there. Go ahead and add a layer mask. Brush tool. Opacity at 100%. Go ahead and clean up where I don't want it to be into the hair. Now you're asking yourself, wow, that looks fantastic over there. Over here it's kind of bright. Whatever will I do? Because the blend mode that we are dealing with will, when we go to screen, it's going to be too bright for screen to work on. Oh no, don't worry, we have a plan. So we'll just get this selected here, go back to the lasso tool, we're going to grab that, copy, come over here, paste, we go to screen, Control T, get it roughly the size we want it to be. Now, the one thing with this is when you do this, you're going to have to commit right away. So go ahead and get it shaped to where you want it shaped to. There we go. So if we look at it, if we see this right in here, it blends a little bit too much into that orange. Okay, well, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to Control J copy. Now it does make it a little bit brighter, it stands out somewhat, but we don't want that still. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back, we're going to turn our top layer off. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and desaturate, so we're going to make it back into a black and white again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control I invert it. And what this does is it gives me a negative. So my white smoke becomes black and my black background becomes white. I can see it because it's in screen mode, so it doesn't see the black, so I'm seeing through the black there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to multiply, which doesn't see the white. I'm going to come in here to Control M. I'm going to make that black a little bit darker, so it spreads out and has a little foundation behind it. Now when I turn this layer back on, I can come into that and I can play with these two layers back and forth. See, there's a lot of give and take here of building up just enough black. See, if I take the black out, if I put that black in, see, it gives it just a little bit of foundation behind it for the brightness of this layer to start to show up more against that black, or the same value color. If I turn it off, come up here, there's a lot of give and take. With this, so there's a lot of moving it a little bit, going to the other one, moving it a little bit, going to back to the first one, moving it a little bit. So you can move it around, but by using the same exact layer twice and inverting it, what you can do is you can give it that background just enough to stand out against, which is something that you'll need to do on occasion. That way, see, I can build that in there. When I initially started, it wasn't standing out very well against it. So the rest of this is again the same exact technique repeated over and over again. So that's going to be it for this part of it. Join me on the next part of it, where we're going to start to change the outfit here. We're going to give her a completely different outfit, more appropriate for being a cosmic force that's coming together and dispersing energy. So join us again and have fun.